Hello, Mouse. Hello, hello. Okay, I'm gonna go get something to drink, and then we can start. Do. So while the stream warms up, let's see if we have any interesting news from our favorite link aggregators. I'm gonna drink some Coke. Why does SQLite in production have such a bad rap? Does it? What do you mean? There are so many freaking SQLites running in production. What are you talking about? I guess it's in as opposed to using Postgres and similar stuff in certain contexts. Okay. Most people see it from a web workload perspective. Typically, we use client-server databases, but SQLite absolutely shines in many other cases, like mobile and embedded devices. Huh. Hey, Steven! Yeah, it's not web scale. That's the problem. I agree. Not web scale like Mongo. Man. You know that one hurts. That one is so true. You should be careful, eventually they're not gonna let you spill all the beans like this that easily. Somebody will try to stop you at some point. Be careful. But that is hilarious. It's mind-blowing because I really think that this question is sus, and it works off of certain assumptions that I really think these assumptions have been heavily influenced by this type of thing, by other databases, marketing teams, sales tactics, because they are the ones who have a reason and a position to really give a bad rep to SQLite. For a long time, SQLite did not allow concurrent writes along with readers. This was changed in the wall mode, where you could have a writer with multiple readers. You still cannot have multiple concurrent writers. That immediately puts off people. Your workload might or might not need this. Big Tech can take my stock value or my moral value, but not both. But man, also, you know what? I'm surprised that like the real core point, it's kind of explained here, but it's really, I like, well, it's more than hinted, but I feel like it's not explicit as it should. Like the whole point is that if you use SQLite and your web app, it's a stupid Python application, then your stupid Python application will like die on, and also you're running this stuff on the cloud. So like the server where you're going to be running your Python thing is also going to be stupidly overcrowded. So you're not going to be able to basically, like, you will need to scale out your backend. That's the problem. Because you're buying overpriced tuna cans from the cloud, and because your thing is an awfully bloated Python application or similar, so you will need to scale out, and you can't scale out. You cannot scale out your backend if you're using SQLite. Well, if you're using SQLite like in a normal way, I guess you could make it work, but then you're like basically doing Postgres with extra steps. Like this one is also funny. You still cannot have multiple concurrent writers. Fine, but like if your application is, if your web backend is like one Python application, you're not gonna have concurrent writers anyway. So you have the guild. So anyway, SQLite did not have a good backup and replication story. Okay, well, I don't know all the details, but that one I can buy, I guess. Live stream. Stop building slow, complex, fragile software systems. Start writing slow, complex, fragile, and more expensive systems. Oh, there's no pricing, so never mind. Fully replicated database with no pain and little cost. And replicating an SQLite database to an S3 compatible store called Mini.io. I'd say more architecture astronauts being unafraid, being afraid / unwilling to get into code at all. Yeah. Oh, the server is Python and uses SQLite. I guess we cannot scale it at all then. That would require code changes. Yeah. Funny little, wait, so some ORMs / libraries come with terrible defaults. For example, not setting Pragma busy timeout. What does Pragma busy timeout do? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'm not a good web dev. Pragma functions. Pragma analysis limit. Pragma busy timeout. Query or change the setting of the busy timeout. This Pragma is an alternative to the SQLite 3 blah 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 C language interface. What does it do, man? Okay, each database connection can only have a single busy handler. This Pragma sets the busy handler for the project, for the process. Possibly override. Is this like how long like a given query is allowed to run before killing its execution? What does it do? I think there's only one way of knowing. There's only one way we can know what this thing does. Gotta ask ChatGPT. Oh, need to put in my password. The command is set to set a timeout period for how long the database connection should wait when a table is locked before giving up and throwing an error. Okay. So busy timeout, it's like, I guess it's for how long you can be hoarding like a lock on a table. Okay. Right. This is because of stupid SQL style transactions where you lock shit and then you keep sending commands. Man, what a weird ass model. I'm sorry, but like I feel like the Redis got this stuff way more right than these things. Like I understand the utility or like the how this model can be nice to program, but Jesus Christ, the implications. The implications. Okay. They're actually right. SQLite has some terrible defaults. Busy timeout defaults to 30 seconds. That's a Python moment right there. Or I don't know, a Python moment, a Java moment. I would say a Python moment. SQLite defaults to write ahead log to off, so concurrent writes either result in up to a 30-second pause. Yeah, all right. ChatGPT is now available for macOS. Dash Plus users get early access. Oh, it's available for macOS. Plus users get early access. Well, wait, is it available or is it not available? It's not available. Or rather, it's not going to be available for me. Also, this thing is like, this fucking thing is like the ultimate website. What does it have a native app? That's gonna load a website. Fuck off, man. I'm good, thank you. Okay. Funny little story. I started learning programming with Django, and the doc straight up said SQLite isn't suitable for production. They did say that. That is absolutely true. You were supposed to use SQLite only for testing in Django. And that's a fair point. I had a wrong impression for a long time. Then I started using it for my own use cases and realized the trade-offs. Yep. Okay, so let's see. I think it's about time we start, isn't it? Maybe I should go get some tea. I feel like I'm not caffeinated enough. I need more caffeine. I need just a little bit more caffeine. Dennings? Yo. Thank you for the $50 donation to the Z Software Foundation, man. Thank you very much. So, I will tell you what the plan is. I'll give you a preview of what's going on, and then I think I'm gonna go make tea, and then we start. So here's the idea. Had a blast recently working on WinAPI/OpenGL game with Zig. Let's go. Wait, why are you using that? Why are you not using Verse? By the way, how's Verse nowadays? Have there been, I don't know, interesting changes? Anyway, while you reply, so here's what's going on. Yesterday, I wired the HTML parser to an LSP server implementation, and now we can have HTML auto formatting. And I was able to like make it run once, and then I have to leave for a meeting. I did a little bit of work more today, and now it's a little bit more full-fledged in its behavior. So maybe we can take a look at that, and you can see if you like how it behaves or not. There are some decisions to make it there, and I'm not necessarily sure that what I'm going for right now is, you know, the perfect way of doing this. So you've made 2 LSPs now. Oh yeah. I'm on an LSP. You know, in the 80s people were on LSD. Now in the 2000s we're on LSP. Much stronger hallucinations, man, with LSP. So we can observe how it behaves, and then we can I don't know, fine-tune it, cover more ground. There are still some to-dos. Like right now, for example, the LSP is borked, I think, because it doesn't handle yet well certain types of malformed HTML, because I still have some literal to-do branches in the parser. So we can do some of that work. But I'm very happy. I'm honestly already very happy with how it behaves now. So give me a sec, and I'll start working on this. Let's see. Let me have my piece at least outside of day job. Barely anything changed. SceneGraph in alpha testing, and it crashes less now. So that's W. Well, that's good. You know, I was having a discussion, I think 2 or 3 days ago. We were in Discord, and somebody was interested in how it was to work with Verse, and they were asking like if it was just something that was being used internally, if so to what degree. And I mentioned then you had some experience with the programming language. I don't know why I'm pointing this out, just letting you know it happened to be part of a discussion. I'll be right back. I'm gonna make some tea. Okay, I'm back. Let's see. So, do you have a simple LSP solver I could check out? Something simpler than ZLS? I'm actually curious how you are doing this too. Yeah, of course. I can show you the Ziggy LSP. So the Ziggy LSP is, well, it's not just an LSP. Like the CLI tool has a couple other subcommands, but you look at main, and then you can see the subcommands, and each one has its own file. So the LSP file is this guy. So you do CLI, sorry, lsp.zig, and here you can see how it works. I'll give you the TLDR. The TLDR is that I have a the TLDR is that I have all the boilerplate, all the LSP boilerplate packaged as a dependency, which is Zig LSP kit, which is basically the ZLS LSP implementation, just gutted out of the logic and having each handler accept a callback. And so here my Zig LSP basically defines all the callback. There's more than one callback. There's a bunch of callbacks, and the callbacks then are all put in a type that basically needs to satisfy an interface. And so initialize, open document, right? So every time something happens, I just have to implement this stuff. So it's a pretty nice experience once you look at it from this perspective. It's not all that bad. I plan to not wait much more before publishing the work that I'm doing right now for the HTML LSP. I think that this is something where people could actually genuinely contribute right away because it's useful. Like, it's just a useful, everybody writes HTML, whether they like it or not. Everything else basically requires buying into my ecosystem, which obviously people are not really gonna want to do that easily. But the idea is that basically what I want to make out of this LSP is I want it to be an executable that offers general tooling for my templating language. But since my templating language is a superset of HTML, what I do in the LSP is have look at the file extension, and if the file extension is only HTML, then we have like the simplified HTML only without any of the extra stuff LSP experience. That's the idea. And then if instead you run this on a .super file, so I have to decide what the extension should be. But if you then are, in any case, are using a full-fledged template, then you get all the extra stuff. Like you get suggested all the custom attributes, that kind of thing. Hey, Alizon. Hello. Yeah, and man, okay. Let me read messages, and then I want to show you one thing, which is kind of sad. First is basically becoming more Unity-like. We are getting components and seeing graphs soon. Hopefully, presets will to follow later. If they introduce branching in the version control, so all R&D work didn't have to be discarded, I would take a day off to celebrate. If they introduce branching in their version control, because you're using some like integrated, like some IDE type of thing where you're like pushing changes of your scripts, but you're not allowed to treat that stuff as normal source files that you manage yourself with normal version control. Oh my god. Like I feel like there's some big implications behind your last sentence. Okay, so in the meantime, what did I want to show people? Oh, I wanted to show you all this. So here I have Helix. Okay, I'm gonna close it. And if I do hx-health HTML, it's gonna tell me that my language server is super and it is available because I'm sim-linking it. So I sim-linked it here and it points to my super checkout and the build super executable. Now, if I change my config file, where in my config file I'm saying, look, I'm redefining HTML. So if I comment this part out and I rerun Helix Health, now Helix will default back to its standard configuration. And the standard configuration is that it uses the VS Code HTML language server. So it took me a while to understand what the heck this thing was, but there's a package somewhere called VS Code extracted language servers. Yeah, this is it. So basically, this is a project that takes language servers developed for VS Code and offers them as standalone tools, so that, you know, they're doing to Microsoft what Microsoft has done to others, in a sense. I mean, it's funny that this is a third-party project, considering that Microsoft wants LSP, interoperability, and everything else, and then they don't release their own language servers as standalone things. But in any case, so I have this, and look what happens if I run Helix now. So, format on save is opinionated. It likes to put a new line between HTML and body. Sorry, there was a... Oh, no. Sorry. No, the body closes up there. But here's what's interesting. So some people might be familiar with the pre-tag. The pre-tag is where where white space has semantic meaning. Like adding a new line here. Like writing foo... If I write foo bar, the browser will render foo bar. All as one word. If I put a space, it will be foo space bar. If I put two spaces, it will 3, 4, 5. It will still be foo one space bar. I can even put a new line, right? This is how HTML works. If we open, this file, you still see foo bar. Now, this is not the case for pre-tags. In pre-tags, white space, it has semantic meaning. Our indentation in our white space is being preserved because that's what pre-tags do. That's what they mean. And normally you put source code in pre-tags. Like whenever you have a code sample in a web page, it's placed between pre-tags, pretty much. So it's like both a part of HTML that exists and has these semantics, and it's also something that is actively used. It's not niche. Now, the thing is, it's actually not doing it now, but I've seen this LSP auto-format pre-tags. Oh yeah, it is doing it. It's not changing the contents, but it is auto-formatting it. Right. So, oh no, you know what? I think I just picked an example that wasn't showing the auto-formatting happening. Now you can see it happen much more easily. Like, look at this shit. That by the way, I have committed Bart code samples by mistake because of this behavior. So whoever is using this thing, whoever is using Helix with the default language server for HTML, they're getting this behavior. they're out there barking everybody theirs and other people's HTML for no reason. My parser instead doesn't do that, but it has one issue. It doesn't recognize yet text. Like it only recognizes tags. It doesn't recognize text elements. So right now we're worse. But as we implement also that, the idea is to make it so that the thing doesn't change the contents of your pre-tags. So long story short, we can do better than that. Let's see, if you want to push to master, you have to sync to master first, discarding all your changes. You have been working on feature X for 2 days. You are 2 days from being home. Some critical issue has been found. To push just that fix without 2 days of unfinished work, you have to discard 2 days of work. There are some hacky ways of copying around binary files. Links, every time you try to describe your experience, like so you answered one question, now I have 2 more. Like binary files? So this thing doesn't have source, or rather the source is still encoded in binary files? And then not only you don't have branching, so I'm guessing you can't even stash your changes. Everything is a binary file. Okay. Oh man, that is kind of crazy. Let's just say I don't ever complain about Zig tuning or any tuning now. Ah, man, that is... Wow. That is wow. The only way I can think of describing your experience is wow. Yep, Verse is the crazy new language from Epic Games. Okay, let us do some work. So I showcased the state of things. Let's implement some more stuff. So here we have our sample file that we can test against the LSP. What's nice is also that the LSP, we have logs from the LSP in here. So we are tailing the LSP, so we can get you know, feedback and stuff. So one problem is this. Like if I type here, then this should panic, or is it on save? I think I might still have... no, I just didn't trigger it. What if I do this? Really? Not an issue? Did I health HTML? We're back on super. Not crashing. Okay, I somehow expected it to crash. Okay, in any case, here we can run tests against the LSP, but we shouldn't completely forget about our unit tests. So we should still try to work off of unit tests if we can. So let's continue some of the work. So let's do... Okay, I have a pre-test here where basically I'm saying, look, if you see these tags, I would expect the formatted version to be exactly the same. So it shouldn't remove this space. Or you know what? Here's what we can do. Let's make a more compelling case. You see B with 4 spaces. The idea is that this should become... Do we remove the extra spacing? Yeah, we should remove the extra spacing. It should be like only 1 space at that point. Let me think about it. Actually, no, we can delete the entire white space, right? So this is kind of what we want. By the way, if anybody knows HTML and believes that what I'm doing breaks the semantics of certain things, let me know. But I think what I'm doing here is reasonable. And I don't think we passed this test case as I've updated it just now. So let's see. I put the test case. I do zig build. No, this is test. Zig test. Blah blah blah. Unused local constant. Oh, whoops. So formatting the the test case should yield the expected result. Let's see what we get. Okay, we're getting that B gets aligned vertically, which right, according to my algorithm, makes sense. When you have white space, it means vertical alignment. But if you don't have anything in there, like if your element, if you have, right, we can test this in the LSP. Let's add another B tag. So if I have this, oh, and this did crash the LSP. Okay, so we did hit A to do as I was typing. Okay, cool. I mean, not cool, but now this matches my expectation. Okay, so if I auto format this works. But if I put a space, it does vertical alignment, right? So I don't know. Is this what we want? Do we always want this behavior? Yeah, I guess so. Like the idea is that you use space to communicate the behavior that you want to the parser. So, okay, you know what? I'll take this. I'll take that this is what we want. Okay, let's see if we pass that test now. And we do. Okay, let's do another test. Let's do pre, but with some text. So let's try to preserve text now. Okay, this is what I would expect to see in pretext. Let's see. Yeah, so we are somewhat inadvertently respecting what's in the pre, but we are totally fucking up the B tag. So it is time to start parsing text as text. So the way I would do it is that I would change Johnny's parser in the states where it starts accumulating characters to not yield each character by itself, but instead to start accumulating them. And then once it's done accumulating them, it decides to either return them as proper whitespace tokens, or whether, sorry, I think if it's just whitespace, we don't need a corresponding token. But if it is text, then we need a text token that then which in turn should create a text element in our AST. I don't think we should create text elements for pure whitespace. I think we might have to change that attitude in the future, but you know, as a starting point, it seems reasonable. Okay, so let's go in the tokenizer. Oh man, this is gonna be fun. So, to tokenizer, huh? The idea is, let's say we are in data mode, for example, and we saw a character. So this keeps us in data mode and it just yields the character. And I don't want that. I think I want a state dedicated to that. called like maybe text or like text mode. Let's call it text mode. And text has as a state, it keeps track of where we started with that thing. So every time we think that we might return a char, we switch self.state becomes dot text equals self.idx -1. Okay, text. In text mode, we want to keep consuming. If consuming fails, what do? I think it's like a successful end potentially. Like as a token, it is fine. Yeah. Hey, Johnny. Switch self.current. Oh, this is the current character. We look at the current character. We have to decide if we want to potentially change mode. Oh no. I'm starting to see a problem here. Ouch. I'm starting to see a problem. Okay. So the problem is, if we see a greater than sign, then we might think that this is a tag open. Oh, that does bring us to tag open though. Wait, are you really not allowed to put a greater than sign at all in your HTML? Well, no, wait, we don't know yet. I guess it depends on how tag open behaves. Does tag open at some point decide that this was actually just a character and that's it? Let's see. Parse error. Tag open start invalid thing. I guess the presence of a greater than sign tends to imply the opening of a tag. It cannot be interpreted. Sorry, a lower than sign. It cannot be interpreted as like a random character tossed in there. So, okay. Okay, so we find this guy. We want to mutate state, but we need also to return stuff. Yeah, you have to do that. Okay, cool. Okay. So if it's a null character, there's also this interesting thing about potential null characters in the source code. I am honestly a little bit tempted to define this string as null delimited and consider null bytes as the end of the string and not assume that people might be tossing null characters in random places. Line 212 -1 might be a bug. Well, that's what we do in data, though. In data, we consume, and if what we consume is a lower than sign, then we move to this state with the -1. So if it's a bug in here, it's a bug also in here, I believe. So I think it should be fine. We'll see. Okay, so we return the token. Yeah, you also know what I think is weird a little bit. The rollback behavior. Like, I feel like that instead of rolling back, some things would be less awkward if they were instead based on a peak mechanism. So you have like the ability to peak the next character. That would make things more normal, I think. But whatever. Okay, so you know what? Okay, let's leave this in place for now. I'm not sold though on this behavior. Okay, so text self-id -1. No, else we don't do anything. We keep accumulating as text. Okay, this might be it. We might have other places though where char is returned. Yeah, so we have to decide what to do there. Oh, okay, so this is where you try to recover in this sense. So you're saying, yeah, we found a tag open, but then the file closed, and so we are defer returning it as a char. You know what? I'm gonna comment this out. Well, let's start by removing the char case from our tokens. Let's introduce text. And let's see if we get other errors. Also, we can search for .char and see what happens. So start. Okay, we'll think about it later. There's a deferred behavior on an error. Commented out. Commented out. Uh-oh. This is... This... Oh, it's still a parse error. Okay, so it's still a recovery strategy that we might not care about. Same here. Okay, start. Given a token. Oh, I see. This is this referenced anywhere? Because I don't think that this is actually sound. Because here you are kind of assuming that the HTML is like this, but I think you can have spaces before the tag name. Is this not allowed in HTML? I think this is allowed. You know what? Let's ask the ultimate authority, Tree-sitter. Actually, Tree-sitter is not. Tree-sitter sucks. It's not very standards compliant, but yeah. What? Why does this weird stuff always happen to me, man? It's crashing my browser? What's going on? Okay, this is insane. Am I going crazy? Oh, also this is JSX. Oh, wait a second. I'm not testing properly. Okay, somehow I'm hitting a bug in Safari. Is this some kind of like 0 day? Maybe some researcher would be able to make use of what we're experiencing right now, but it's so weird. Why does the weird stuff happen always to me? So let's see. According to according to this guy, the start tag is this guy, including spaces. Oh well, but that's the whole start tag. Actually, now that I think about it, no man, this is not the start tag. You are. This is borked. Uh-oh. I crashed the page. So I'm guessing this is a crashing WebAssembly, and a crashing WebAssembly causes I don't know what's going on anymore, man. Oh, now it works correctly. Yes, this is the start tag, and this is the tag name. Oh, I guess it got like it broke at some point earlier while I was doing this, so it was out of sync with what I wrote in the text input. That's what it was. Okay, so yeah, according to this, you seem to be able to put spaces in there. So not the problem is that you need to account for this weird stuff happening. So this start function is not okay. I'm nuking it because I hope it's not used anywhere. Go to reference didn't report anything, so hopefully we haven't we haven't broken anything serious. But yeah, in any case, it was reporting wrong things. So next, well, you know what? Let's just build and get a compile error and see what we need to change. No field name char. Oh, that's nice. So in the AST, I was ignoring char tokens, as I was saying. So now we can remove that. Well, you know what? We can ignore text now, I guess, since we have to handle it anyway. So let's get to building. No field name text instruct blah blah blah. Well, this start is a token, is it not? Oh, I know what it is. But we need to define a text state, I think, in our tokenizer. Not this tokenizer, this tokenizer. So we have defined a text token, but we also need to define a text state. No, we did define a text state. What's going on, man? We do have a text type of token, which is a span. So where do you not see these? 193. Oh, yeah. That's how it is. Token text. Yeah. Okay, let's see how this goes. Okay, we're building. And we have restored the previous behavior. So now we need to handle text. We need a text node, which we have here, which we do support. Is closed. It should not be asked for text. Or you know what? Maybe it should be asked and it's fine. We put it here. Okay, that's fine. So direction. Yeah. Okay, so on text, what do we do for text? Well, we kind of want to do this, don't we? And maybe text should go after doc type. Doc type, R bracket. I know what, start tag, R bracket, end tag, that's fine. End tag, R bracket, start tag, self-closed. And then we put it there. Okay, so create a new node. And so we create a new node, and the type of this new node is .text. Text has an open. Oh, right. Yeah, I guess we can do this. So txt.start and txt.end. Well, I guess we can do this. Close we set to 0, 0 because we don't use it. First child index. Yeah, we set to 0, but in any case, yeah, it doesn't have anything of this kind. Then the question is, where do we append it? Do we append it inside or next to? And yeah, this is like this. That's fine. Yeah, well, this is it basically. The text is so uninteresting if you think about it. So next is rendering text. Almost. The other thing that we need to do is recognize when text has something that isn't white space. So we need to basically, as we scan character by character, we need to say, did we see anything that wasn't white space? And if we did, then we have a text node. Otherwise, we don't. Yeah. So, in the tokenizer does see every single character in there. Oh man, I have the wrong. Can I close this buffer? Okay, in here, in text, I'm saying this is the exit condition. This is the case where we don't care, but here's what we need to do. We need more state. Unfortunately, we need more state for text. So it has starting index and it has Yeah, it needs more state, unfortunately. Then we look at this guy. And this is another point where UTF-8 decoding might make sense. But not only decoding, but like, what about white space? Like weird white space, weird Unicode white space characters. Should they count as text or should they count as white space? Like, am I allowed to ignore those weird types of spaces? I don't know. But let's do the lazy thing first. What are you doing with white space in the tokenizer? Well, basically, I am how can I say? So look at this example. So between this element here and this element here, so between the B and the pre-tag, there's a bunch of white space. If you had text in here, then the actual order of elements would be an element, a text node, and another element, right? But if you don't have non-white space text in here, then you don't really want to tokenize this white space as a text node. Or rather, sorry, as a text token. Isn't that defined in the spec? Yes, I could look at the spec and see what the spec declares in terms of Unicode, weird Unicode white spaces. Yeah, I could totally do it. White space is significant though. Well, only to some degree, I think. Like, I know that it used to be, so I have this clear memory that in the past, like, let me show you a couple of examples. I have clear memory that in the past, this would create a underlined foo. And if you had a space here, this would create a underlined foo plus an underlined space. But I tested it now and it doesn't do that anymore. So now this white space doesn't do this. So it seems that it's not that significant. Sorry, to be clear. For a moment, let us ignore pre-tags. So let's set pre-tags aside for a brief moment. But for everything else, space makes in any case, sorry, space does things only if you have a text node. Space span renders differently than span, for example. Does it? Okay. This is a good point. So yes, thank you. Do you have a link to where this stuff is specified? In the meantime, I'll take a very quick bathroom break. So I'll be right back. But thank you. Yeah, that's a good thing to think about. Okay, I'm back. Do. Let's take a look at Johnny's gist. Oh shit. Right. So it is connected to the existence of text, but this can have significance also in this context. Copy. Okay, you know what? Give me a sec. Let's get this to a working state, and then I want to see how my LSP behaves and how that renders, etc., and decide what to do after that. Okay, because sorry, what I'm thinking about is some things that have implemented they haven't shown you yet, that has to do with how it reacts to you making changes to the code, like how the auto formatter reacts to you making changes to the code. And I think that I originally wanted to fully respect this type of thing, but then I realized that the behavior of the auto formatter would be much more friendly if I started bending the rules a little bit. But I need to double check if I'm doing it too much. Okay, so we were saying here that we want the state to be more complicated. So the state for text is not just this, but it's also this. And I guess we can put a comma here. And in text, we have just the text state. So this is going to be text.start. Text.start. Text.start, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, you don't want weird stuff here. Yeah, this is all weird stuff. Well, this one not. The other one is weird stuff. Okay, so here's what we want to do. What we want to do is decide whether what we're looking at is white space or not. So if self.current self.ascii dot is not white space. I guess we want to do this. Self dot text dot has non-white space, but that means that this guy needs to be a pointer. So if text dot has not no, I could access this also through self.state. I don't know which is the better way. I'll mutate text. Although it kind of hides the fact that I'm mutating the state. Yeah, whatever, it's fine. So has no white space. We want to or equal it with X2. Okay, so I think this is how we can make it happen, right? So we look at if there's something that is in white space, and then we return it only if it's not white space. Although, yeah, I realized that I just did this, but it is fine. I don't think this white space needs to be a token. Like the fact that I'm not returning as a token, as a text token, pure white space, It's not necessarily a problem. Okay, actually, yeah, no, this is by design. This is by design. This is fine. This is correct in any case. Next, what's our behavior now? Our behavior still sucks. Why? Well, I'm guessing we're parsing the text node, but we're just not printing it. Actually, I'm surprised. Should we not be hitting a panic here? Root doc type element. Yeah, we should be hitting a panic. Why are we not panicking? Also, let me think about it a little bit more. With text, we're adding a new text node. We decide where to put it based on where what our direction is for the current node. But then we don't mutate the direction because text should say after always, right? Yes, it does. Okay, so that's okay. Oh, there you go. I'm dumb. I didn't know this. Yeah. Okay. Invalid operands to binary bitwise expression. Wait, is there no OR assignment? Is it like this? No. We don't have OR assignment in Zig. Okay. Okay, there we go. And now we're hitting a to do. Great. So let's go and render and solve our to do. So our to do in render is we don't know how to render text, and that is fine. So text. So how do we render a text node? So I guess, okay, I'm gonna break pre-tags because we have special handling for pre-tags that doesn't properly account for text. We'll have to fix this. But the way it works is roughly this, right? So we say if the text, we kind of want to print the text without white space, or do we want to keep the white space? You know what? I'm thinking that probably we might even want to save the text without extra white space, maybe even like trim it on purpose. We might want to trim it. Let's just print the trimmed version. So we write all current well, sd.mem.frame values to strip. Oh right, we can also trim new lines. So it's not just one type of character, it's multiple type of characters. Okay, so let's do trim u8 slice is going to be current.open.slice. What I want to remove is space, tab, carriage return, new line. Okay, let's see how that fares. Tags can only contain upper or lowercase ASCII letters. Well, thank you, but it is not yeah, it's bitwise, but it isn't bitwise. It was booleans that I was trying to OR and assign. In any case, here we are not talking about what's inside an open tag here, or rather, if you're answering the question from way before about white space in an open tag, Yeah, thank you. That's fine. But right now we're looking at text that sits outside of tags. So let's see what happens now. I think we're looping forever. Why are we looping forever? Because I'm not moving forward the current node, of course. So when we're looking at text, we print the text and then we move forward. Well, I guess it's this basically. We need to set direction in this branching. We should not. Okay, so we're definitely not getting what I was expecting to get. The fact that this stuff gets printed twice, it's actually kind of by design. As I said, pre-tags are broken because there's special handling for pre-tags that doesn't account for what we're adding right now, so that's fine. But I'm still surprised that I'm not seeing anything here. Why are we not? And we were for sure hitting the text case. We were for sure hitting the text case because we were panicking earlier. Why are we not? Why is this not being printed then? Am I giving it to this guy the wrong? I think I might be giving this guy the wrong info here. I'm guessing this is it. Let's take a look. Text node rendered. Oh yeah. This is definitely not it. What is this thing? Why are we fucking it up so much? Okay, let's take again a look at what the tokenizer does. It returns you actually need to also do this. I would hate to put this in the same thing. I'm actually confused. What's going on here? Oh. Yeah. There you go. Okay. So when we are in data mode and we find something that isn't this guy, we change state to text. And in text, if we find an open tag, we go to tag open. Otherwise, just check if it doesn't have white space. Don't change other parts of the state. And this is going to be our start and end. So this tokenizer seems reasonable. So how come we end up with like shit information in here? Parser itself creates a new node, calls it text, puts txt to that, close first child this for child that. This also seems reasonable. So why are my indices so out of whack? Okay, let's have the tokenizer do some logging for us. Let's log when we get here. Let's see if the tokenizer has weird ideas of what is supposed to be text. So the tokenizer stuff is before getting to the render, blah 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 blah. Tokenizer, this is text. Wow. What is going on, man? Okay, so it's the tokenizer doing the wrong thing. Are you following the spec or just going for it? It's a mix of the two. Some things were done according to spec, mostly by Johnny Marler, who was at least here in chat, who brought the tokenizer. But now I am not following the spec to a T because I'm not writing in browser. I'm writing developer tuning, and so I want to bend some rules a little bit. So, for example, you know how HTML allows you to leave certain tags open and never close them? That is valid HTML, but I don't want to support that use case. I'm writing this parser because I want to use it in a templating language. So I want to implement all the tooling for allowing you to template HTML. And I want to consider, for example, not closing an HTML tag a build error. It's a templating language for a static site generator. So you have like a build step of your website. And so I want, when I look at your templates and a tag doesn't close, I will consider it a build error. So that means that I'm not perfectly spec compliant. But I want to be spec compliant where it matters. That's kind of the idea. So also my LSP also should do HTML auto formatting. And to do auto formatting, you have to think about things that aren't exactly spec. Or rather, you have to keep some spec considerations in mind, but some other things are not, some other behavior that you might want to have is not exactly defined by the spec. So yeah, as someone who has worked on a real browser HTML parser, good take. Yeah, well, absolutely. It depends on what you're doing, right? It makes sense for developer tuning to like, for example, the way browsers recover in case of malformed HTML. That's spec, but I don't haven't like it. I think it doesn't even matter what you do from that perspective in a piece of developer tooling. So yeah. In any case, my stuff is borked, and I don't know why. So why is our token start and self IDX weird in this case? Oh, here's why. Because we're mutating state. We are referencing state and we are mutating it. Oh no. That's the problem. That's the problem. Oh no. What a mess. Actually, this is UB. No, I shouldn't be surprised. But oh man. Oh shit. I've introduced UB without realizing it so easily with what I'm doing here right now. Doing this is such a foot gun. Holy shit. Like if I remove this, you will find that it's so easy to realize that that's what I'm doing. Okay, by changing this, I think Zig will now be able to realize that I'm doing something bad. 205. Yeah. Yep. There we go. Access of union field text while tag open is active. That's what I was encountering, and I didn't realize that. Huh. Okay, so we basically want to defer this. Just defer it. Okay, so now text node rendered. Bunch of spaces on a banana. Okay, show me the other banana. Yeah, I think is this the one? Couple spaces? No, because there's this thing. Wait a second. Where's my first banana thing? Tokenizer, this is next. Banana. I feel like we are not doing a good job with the first banana thing. Like, what's going on, man? So data, tag open, tag back to data, then text. This is the first banana, I think. The problem is that has non-white space is always false. And and it should become true at some point. Okay, there we go. Now we have it. So here's the banana. We have an off by one error. There's one extra character that we are counting in that we shouldn't. So let's go do that. So this is definitely a case of the minus ones. Can remove this print. Fine. At this point. Okay, so now we do print banana. But we are not doing a good job at maintaining the white space. Yeah. Okay, so we're in a better position now. So this is a B tag that we have decided should be printed vertically because there's white space. So we're not respecting that, and that's not good. So let's take a look at what we're skipping in the rendering function. There's behavior that we're skipping basically. So let's go fix that. So in tokenizer render function, when we render like a element, what do? Yeah, we do a bunch of stuff. Okay, this is attribute stuff. Element void. Yeah, we still worry about verticality and indentation, I think, right? For the doc type, do we care about indentation in this case? Let's see. Last R bracket. Oh, we also need to update last R bracket. Holy shit. Okay, we need to do this also for text. Last R bracket in our case, well, text doesn't end in an R bracket, but for now, let's just leave this for a moment. So this is where the old thing ended. Yeah, okay, this is wrong because we're doing more complicated stuff. But for now, let's leave it as is. The question is, where does indentation come from? Who does indentation here? And I think we do it up here, right? When you're entering something, if we decide that we do vertical stuff, like we're not in a pre, we decide that we are in vertical mode. From the last R bracket to where we are now. Yeah, I think I should not count white space inside of text elements. I should just like literally skip them, trim them somehow. Maybe I should move forward the start counter if what I'm looking at is white space. How do you get that LSP error display styling helix? That error styling helix is a new feature. I don't know if it has been released yet, but it's I think if you have the latest helix, you should have it. And if you don't, then you need latest unstable helix. I'm sorry, I have like a weird build of helix that comes from like a bunch of like in-flight changes already merged in that's maintained by somebody. So I don't have stock helix, but it's coming. It's like it's an official feature, and I don't know if it's out yet or not. That's the only thing. And or maybe you need to toggle it on in the settings. So no, I think none of those has anything to do with that. So never mind. I don't think you even need to. You don't even need to worry about that. You just need a new enough helix. Um. Okay, so here we're doing indentation in case we are in vertical mode. I guess we are not. We're concluding that we are not in vertical mode or something. That's why this was printing as it was. Yeah, I think that's the case. Okay, let's remove white space from our token. Let's remove white space from our token. So the idea is you are in test mode. You're consuming stuff. And here's also the idea. I guess we need to check if this thing is white space or not every time. No. We basically need to say here if self the state.text.has non-white space. If it's false, if it's just white space for now, then we move our starting point forward. We move it forward by -1 or not. I think yes, by -1, but I'm not sure. In any case, this in theory should move it forward. So this should trim the beginning. I'm not gonna trim the end, but it's gonna trim the beginning. Ideally, text node rendered space banana. Like this space banana is problematic. Let me see. Maybe like this. Yeah. Actually, I'm not sure. Single space banana, double space banana, single space banana, double space banana. Oh god. Okay. So now we fixed it. So now this is rendered correctly. And this is good. So this is real good. Pre-tags are busted. I think it's fine for now. Let's do the build. So okay, the LSP is, oh no. Oh no, the LSP is going bonkers. To start it. What happened, man? Oh, I think this guy is not even restarting. We are logging the tokenizer state. Like there's the tokenizer is stuck. How? Do we have a branch where we don't consume? Oh shit. Here we're not consuming, are we? No, wait, doesn't matter. We consume. Wait. No, we consume every time we enter text. So we always consume here. So yeah, what's the problem, officer, then? How did we cause this thing to loop? Oh no. $167. You know what's a feature that is missing from this editor that would be nice to have? The ability to go to a given byte offset. Has anybody ever had that need? HX go to byte offset. Jump to byte address in Vim. The command go. $42 go jumps to byte 42. We have go to. We don't have go. Man, that's actually useful. Yeah, well, as the thing says, it's just jumping lines. That's unfortunate. Okay, so why are we looping forever with this code here? Man, what's making it loop forever? The thing is, we're looping forever in the state text. So the problem is that we're doing something that is unable to take us out of state text. Is this defer not running by any chance? Is this it? I don't know. No, it shouldn't be tag open. It should be data. I think data doesn't even have state. I don't get it. How? What could be making us loop in here? Here we keep consuming. So every time we enter this state, we consume. We look at the current character. Oh, I think I understand the problem. The problem is that we're entering an error state and we stay stuck in that error state. I think this is what's happening here. Like we're hitting some error state. This condition is not fulfilled, so we don't return any token, and so we keep looping. But that should make us keep consuming. Every time we enter here, we do consume a new character. Unless tag open somehow puts us back where we were. No, because we don't see the state bouncing back and forth. It's constantly this current state that we're in. So, oh, that's nice. So if we haven't seen, if we always, maybe, you know what, let's rename this thing. Has non-white space. Let's rename it to white space only. If it's white space only, so we want to change the logic, like white space only. Start with true. So in the beginning, we consider something to be white space only. And if it is not white space only, then we omit it. If it's not white space only, then we omit it. If it is white space only, then we want to move this forward and check. Okay. So this is nice, but this still doesn't answer why we're looping. Why are you looping, man? No, now we're not looping. Now we hit what exactly? Index out of bounds. Okay. Parent IDX. Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's AST stuff. So are we doing it wrong in here? We're not setting parent to the text node. No, we do. I'm a little bit confused. You know what? I think I want this as a unit test to understand what's going on. Segmentation fault. Let's see if we can simplify it. Is this by any chance what's giving you trouble? No. Man, we're nuking this text, so we're kind of forgetting that text exists. That's not good. But that's not what's giving it trouble. What is it that's giving it trouble? You know what's worse? What's the worst about this thing is that this is actually correct. Like, this is even well-formed HTML. So what's going on, man? Man, I need a debugger. So we tokenize a tag name, starts at 68, left bracket is at 67, and then boom, we segfault. The Z code doesn't compile. If it compiles, its seg fault never gets old. Well, I'm clearly doing something wrong somewhere. To be fair, I put myself in that situation. I purposely decided to represent some things in a more compressed way. For example, compressed and somewhat imprecise in some cases way. So for example, in the AST, every node of the AST has an open and a close tag, but then, an open span and a close span, which models correctly elements that have an opening tag and a closing tag. But then, for example, text nodes, they don't have this stuff. So I basically put the beginning and end offsets of a text node inside open, and for close, I try to zero it, which I hope that I don't forget to do, but I have to do it manually. So like I'm making these choices myself, a bunch of them. So that said, in text, it's not like I'm doing that much stupid stuff, right? Open, I'm grabbing what the tokenizer gives me. Close, set to 0. First child, next child, I set to 0. Direction is one of the two. And I do move forward current index and current node. So we need to have some more debug info one way or another. So what I'm thinking is, let's do some more debug printing. And let's see where we die. So we know that we die after tokenizing 68, 67, 67, 68. So this is a... Yeah, actually, oh, you know what? Actually, we are crashing in the tokenizer. That is for sure, because we are looking at the state of the tokenizer. We're not looking at what the tokenizer is returning. So, yeah, we're just looking at the tokenizer state. So let's look at the tokenizer state and actually we crash inside tag name. Which is interesting. So which tag name here could be the curl pit? Huh. Okay, so let's look at the tokenizer. Let's look at the tag name state. Also, you know what? We could do some counting, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 60. 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67. It's kind of here. I'm even counting him wrong. So maybe it's link that's making it, causing it to die. That's so weird though. That is so weird. So let's do this. Whenever we print this, let's not just print the tokenizer state, although, I mean, that's already a good starting point. Let's take a look at what happens in in tag name. So what are we doing here that could cause a seg fault? Because that's also weird. Yeah, this is so weird. Okay, you know what? Here's what we do. Let's also add some printing to this guy, and let's print this. Okay, so this is the state of the tokenizer, and this is, so we do return a token 6872. Okay, so this is link, I would say. And then we segfault. So it seems that we're segfaulting in our AST, but why though? So the token that we're getting is a start tag token. You know what? It's also weirding me out that it's a seg fault. It's a seg fault that I'm getting by mostly working with indices, which is weird. Because with indices and like, it's not like I'm building in release mode. So if I'm only using indices, I would get a out of bounds, which, well, that's kind of what I was getting from the LSP. Like the LSP did do this. So when I had the LSP running, I had this. $182. There's an end tag. We ask if current is closed, and then if it is closed, the current one, then we want to grab its parent and set current to its parent. Oh, I think that this might be what's going on, maybe? Text is always closed. So like this should not cause a seg fault. This should cause a index out of bounds error, which it does here. Seven nodes in. 1, 2. Well, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Six. Oh, you know what? This 6872, that's 4 characters. And that includes also opening and closing brackets. So oh no, but wait, this is just the name. So no, this is link. Why am I at index 7 then when I'm at link? Because it should be root node index 0, then HTML 1, body 2, anchor 3, B4. It should be like 5th. Why are we at index 7 by then? Text. Maybe text nodes? Somehow I'm adding text nodes out of this white space. An initialized memory issue? That seems that it might be the case, but at the same time, I don't think I have that. I mean, I must have. But even then, it's sus. I guess it's, you know what? It would not be sus if what I'm trying to do is treat a bunch of memory, like try to obtain a string. Okay, this is really weird. This is really, really weird. Yeah, I think at this point I might want to just run LDB on my tests. So how do we do this? Because I think it's going to be complicated. Zig test help. I don't remember. Does test have something to help with this? I think I knew how to do this at some point. Where is it? Test specific help, general help, blah, 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 blah. This is it, right? Specify the text execution command 1 arg at a time. Appends test binary path to test CMD args. Yeah. So it's this, and then test name, test CMD LDB, and then test. CMD bin. Let's see how we fare. Run. There we go. Stop recent bad access. N.tag. N is a bad access. We're asking the direction of a node. Line 150. Well, yeah, at least that's the case that we're at. So we're asking the direction of the current node and that's what's causing us to hit UB. How do I print stuff? Maybe we could print something like what is the, I don't know, current node? I think it's like, can I do p current? Can I print star current? Well, it is garbage. That's for sure. Current is garbage. That is for sure. But how can this happen? Current starts at root. Okay, I think I understand what's happening. What's happening is that I'm keeping around a pointer to something. Okay, this is what happened. I'm keeping a pointer to the current node. I call add one. Add one reallocates the array, and my pointer to the current node is dangling. That's what's happening. So my problem is that I'm trying to put the new node directly into the array instead of creating it locally on the stack and then copying it afterward. So here's how we do this. Yeah, and I think that by doing this every time, things are going to be better. And so at the end, we do try nodes append new. Yeah, and here we can remove the -1. That's nice also. Okay. There we go. There we go. Dot close, I think we can give it default initialization thing. Same with the other ones. That's what it comes. So there we go. Yeah. Hello, Lord Nick. It's going. Good to see more professional programmers also get safe faults. Oh yeah. Okay, so any struggles? I just survived a silly mistake that I was making. Now I'm ironing it out of the source code and we should be good to go in a moment. End tag doesn't add a new node. Start tag self-close does. Yeah. What is the goal of this project? This project is an HTML parser and LSP. Right now, I'm once I'm gonna be done with the current fixes that I'm making. Basically, the idea is that you write HTML with weird indentation, you know, save, and then you get your thing to be automatically formatted nicely for you. And this is part of a templating engine that I'm writing. So I don't know if you're familiar maybe with something like Mustache, Handlebars, Jinja, one of those things. I'm making my own. It doesn't, like all the ones that I just mentioned have like curly braces. Mine is different, works works in a different way. And it requires to parse HTML correctly. It's a superset of HTML. So I've already implemented it actually. The problem is I was relying on Trisitter for parsing HTML, and now I want better diagnostics, so like better error messages whenever something is wrong, and so I'm writing my own thing from scratch. I need my own Ghost TE. I don't know what a Ghost TE is. Text editor? What do you mean when you say Ghost then? Assuming that TE does mean text editor. Sorry, I'm not familiar with those terms. Index.ghost, links.ghost. Ghost.txt. Oh, TE templating engine then. I see. Okay, I'm catching up. Do you have a link to your project? I'd be curious to check it out. It's implemented into PHP. Oh. Did they remove the minus ones in the other one? Yes. Okay, so we might be good now with this. Except the AST node found AST node. Oh, you're right. Okay, I'll check in a moment. So we append this guy. And then we want to move current forward. Problem is we can't have current. We can't say the current is new like this. We have to say the current is, that's annoying. I guess maybe what I did just now, maybe it's not the right approach, because with the current approach, we build a node locally, then we copy it afterwards. But maybe what we want to do is, yes, put stuff in the new array and then just repoint current. We do have current in the index, so we could refetch it. How do we fix up current? Well, you know what? Okay, we don't have to do it in here. So we can do this. We can do this. Yeah, we can do it like this. Okay. So look inside app views. Hell yeah. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that I'm going for. In my case, it is not curlies. Okay, so you went for something that is similar, at least at a superficial level, with Jinja and company. I like that you have this, at least seemingly more normal expression syntax that you put between curlies. I really don't like the type of syntax that the other things force you to use in here. Like they have the, you know, with filters and you have to use pipes. It's so weird. In any case, so this is a component. Okay. Cool. Okay, so you probably have more than enough context to understand what I'm going for. So if you're curious, check out the docs for the my static site generator, and you will see what the syntax looks like and what the logic is. There's a bunch of explanation on how template extension / inheritance works. But then if you want to look at like the way logic works is at the bottom. So just to give you like a quick look, that's how it looks like for me. Basically, you have an if attribute or a loop attribute. There's a expression syntax that you put in quotes, which is kind of like your expression syntax that you put inside curlies. And based on what that evaluates to, then the system decides whether to render the body or not. HTMLX, I guess, yeah. Except that HTMLX is like runtimey in my case. You know, being a static site generator, the template gets like evaluated once when you build everything, but that's kind of the idea. Yeah. Okay, so I guess I'll have to do this also elsewhere. Oh, I was forgetting something important here. I also think I'm doing something stupid down below in a place where I'm assigning to current index, because I'm just increasing it by 1, and I don't think this is smart to do. We want to assign this. We want to say, yeah, no, this is incast of nodes.items.len. Okay, so let's see if I fix also everything up top. Yep. Yep. Okay. Hopefully we're good. No. All right. We need to take a pointer. Annoying, but fair. Oh, which I did do. Oh yeah, I did do only in there. Oh well. Oh no, I did do. Oh wait. This is another weird case, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so now we are not crashing horribly anymore, which is good. Guys, I'm new to programming. What does LSP mean? LSP is an acronym, stands for Language Server Protocol, and is in general the set of things that basically give you, you know, like auto formatting, compile errors. Like every time, like if I, you know, delete this, and now I have all these errors in my editor. What's happening is that my language, in this case is Zig, has a language server implementation that runs as a process, and looks at my code and analyzes it and notice that there's a syntax error, and so it tells the editor to report these errors, which are called diagnostics. It can also do auto formatting and you know, autocomplete, right? Suggest what to put in places, also go to definition and stuff like that. And so you can build these things, and you can build them also for things that aren't programming languages. In my case, I'm building one for HTML. So the idea is that you write HTML in your editor, and my thing auto formats it and ideally gives you auto completion. It's going to be a while before I get to stuff like auto completion, but that's what I'm working on basically. So that's the idea. Just started Zig and I'm working on a parser and hopefully an LSP if I get so far. Let's go. It's for a Pascal-like language using some industrial robots. Let's go. So will be super useful for me if I succeed. Good thing I found this stream. Hey. So, well, welcome to the stream. You're definitely in the right place. Here's a suggestion for you. Okay. I don't know how much experience you have with, you know, the programming language side of an LSP. So the experience with writing a parser, like a resilient parser, or a parser that in one way or in some way is able to recover so that it can report more than one diagnostic at a time. All that kind of stuff. And there's a lot of stuff to discover there. So that's probably the fun part. What is not fun is implement the LSP protocol. That part is boring, horribly boring. So here's something that I can offer you. I can offer you this Zig LSP kit. So Zig LSP kit is the implementation of the LSP protocol used by ZLS, the Zig language server, where the Zig programming language specific logic has been removed. And basically this thing allows you to provide a struct, a type that has a bunch of callbacks, and it will call your callbacks whenever LSP communication of that kind happens. So whenever the client asks for auto formatting, your auto format callback will be called. So you don't have to implement all the horrible JSON things. You just have to implement your logic pretty much. Well, you still have to speak the data types that LSP speaks. So it's not like you can be, you know, completely LSP agnostic. Would be nice. Agnostic would be nice. Can't be done, but or at least cannot be done. Let's just say can't be done. But this saves you from having to write a ton of boilerplate. So this is the thing that you can depend on. So let me share it in chat. So this is the project you can depend on. And if you want an example of it being used, I wrote this thing, which is like a JSON replacement. It's still like version 001. It's like there's still some. I made a website, a fancy website for it, but still some design decisions that I'm not really sure of. But regardless, you don't care about this. What you care about, I'm just telling you this so that you get an idea of what kind of LSP I'm going to show you. So it's not for a programming language. It's an LSP for a data serialization language. So it's something dramatically simpler. But if you look at code, I'm gonna link this as well. Here, this is a Zig project that depends on Zig LSP kit. Here in the build script, you can see how I import my Zig LSP kit dependency. And then in source, CLI, the CLI, I'm basically, I have a CLI tool for Ziggy, which is not in path apparently, so never mind. I thought I was I thought I would be able to show this. I can't. But in any case, it's a CLI tool that has multiple commands, well, sub commands. So you can do Ziggy FMT, query, check, but one of these is the LSP. So the LSP, the file lsp.zig shows you how to use the Zig LSP kit thing. So you import it. I called it LSP. So like the package name, the full package name is Zig LSP kit. So I just shorten it to LSP in here. So I import LSP, and then I create a server that accepts my handler as a type, and my handler has a bunch of state that you can design yourself. So like the internal state of this thing is entirely up to you. What matters for its public interface is that it implements initialize. And so initialize is the thing that communicates all the capabilities of your language server. So things that you're willing to do and things that you're not willing to do as a language or provide as a language server. And then like callbacks for shutdown, exit, whenever a document is opened, which kind of means that you want to save those bytes somewhere and map them to the file name so that you can then re-fetch that data whenever the document changed, or whenever there's a request for autocompletion, or blah, 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 any of the other things. So you can see Ziggy as an example of using that library. I don't know how into the Zig ecosystem you are. You said you just started Zig. So if you just started Zig, what I showed you just now is, it's not like something that you can easily do, first day of Zig. Maybe if you can spend a good amount of time is a first week of Zig. Well, let's say second week of Zig. But you have to have spent a good week doing some good work. But more importantly, what is non-trivial here is understanding, being able to have Zig dependency stuff work. That stuff is not, it's really not that complicated, but it's a little bit manual. And if you're not used to it, you will find that there's friction there, especially if you're used to other languages where you do pip install blah and you get it. In Zig is a little bit more complicated for now. Well, it's always going to be more complicated because of just the nature of Zig being a systems level programming language, where you can do more stuff than what you can do in, say, Go. But it's still more manual. It's still fairly manual because of stuff that is not yet there in the ecosystem. That said, let's see. Zig LSP kit is going to come in really handy. I'm like 20% into the parser, and we'll try some small LSP stuff soon. Okay, awesome. How much experience do you have about in writing parsers? Like you mentioning that this is for a Pascal-like language. So do you have the rest of the toolchain? So I'm guessing that you do have a reference parser. So you're targeting industrial robots. Do you do the code gen yourself? Do you use LLVM? I'm sorry, I don't know if you can or are interested in talking about this stuff. I'm just generally curious. I can give you also... I can also link you an interesting blog post if you want about some differences, some concerns when writing a parser for an LSP. Hey Christoph, do you recommend switching to a Mac for development /cybersec? If yes, is 18 GB of RAM and 512 gigabytes SSD enough, or should I try to buy the bigger one? So I would say a Mac is a decent platform for development if you do one thing. This. If you have a Linux virtual machine. I have a NixOS virtual machine. Right now I'm doing web development, so I'm tabbing very often into a web browser and I'm kind of being lazy, so I'm developing on my Mac directly. But whenever I'm doing something even just slightly more serious than that, I strongly prefer going to my Linux virtual machine. So I can tell you that having a Linux virtual machine, you know, a graphical virtual machine is fucking awesome. It's like the best of both worlds. If you have to give talks, like present something, you have a Mac, so you pretty much don't have Linux moments where, you know, the HDMI adapter fucking hates your computer, and so it just doesn't want to work, or you can only get, you know, 480p, so like very low resolutions, or, you know, weird problems. You don't have these weird problems. The Mac is not perfect either, but it tends to be easier to get like this type of stuff going with a Mac. So you get the capabilities of both OSs. That's kind of the point. And you can even get more fancy with your Linux setup at that point, because like you know, you want to try out Wayland. Sure, you can try out Wayland in your Linux machine and you're gonna have a good time. And then if your Wayland thing doesn't work with Firefox, or the screen sharing capabilities of your of that thing are busted, you don't care, because you can screen share from the outside. You're just screen sharing the virtual machine window, right, from the Mac. So you have a ton of flexibility, and like you can connect hardware directly to the virtual machine. And the virtual, like the macOS, for example, Valgrind doesn't work on macOS. There's a lot of tuning on macOS that is weird and macOS specific. And when you want to get access to the normal version of that, like you want to call trace strace instead of dtrace, then you can do that on Linux. And if at some point you have macOS specific interest, like you're curious about macOS specific APIs or something, you have those. So like instead of epoll, you want to mess around with kEvent, you have kEvent on macOS. In my opinion, it's great. As for stats, I have an M2 Pro with 32 gigs of RAM. Honestly, I would say 32 gigs of RAM is not a bad idea. But before this one, I had an M1 Mac Mini with half this much RAM, and it was still fine. It still worked perfectly fine. So I would say it's not a bad idea to go up, honestly, but it is not mandatory. So I would say try to aim for 32 gigs or whatever, but really you don't have to. You can pull it off even without that. What did I want to say last? Oh yeah, here's what I wanted to say last. Check this out. This is Michio Hashimoto's NixOS config to get NixOS on a macOS VM. It's like super easy. I fucking love it. So this is a way of pulling off the VM stuff quickly. So let's see what people are saying on YouTube. Zig is really interesting. Sir, can you please tell how a beginner can start learning Zig? I cannot find any good resource on Zig except for docs, which is quite intimidating. So if you're new to programming, beware that Zig is gonna be intense. Different people learn things in different ways. For some people, learning things bottom up is their preferred way. I personally do believe that if you really don't know much about programming and like you're learning how to program, in my opinion, which I will state one second time, it works well for me and it might not work well for everybody. So ultimately you have to decide based on the way you like to learn. But for me personally, I would start with a higher level programming language. I would even start with something like JavaScript. I would start with JavaScript because JavaScript is not it's not the greatest programming language. It's not a great programming language. It's not even a good programming language, maybe. It's I feel like they made it decent after ES6. But JavaScript is ubiquitous. And it will allow you to make web pages and front-end development. So it will allow you to share your work and find a job, have an impact much more easily than other languages. Python is another good one. But, you know, if you look at it from the perspective of also finding a job, I would say JS is better than Python. But they're both great. So, like, I guess pick your poison. That is my take. If you are learning to program. If you are an experienced programmer, like you know how to program, but you've never done low-level programming, then yeah, Zig is a great choice. Probably the best out there. Again, in my opinion, based on you know my interests and my sensibilities. If in this second case, or in the case that you're like you just want to YOLO Zig, and no matter what, then people have been suggesting Ziglings, which is a great suggestion. You got their TOEFL here on Twitch, but also on YouTube. People were suggesting Ziglings. That is absolutely true. So here's what I would do. I will go here. Go to zigling.org. Click the Learn section. The Learn section will show you the language reference. This is useful. Then you can see here, online learning resources, Zig guide. This is the closest thing to a Zig book. So check it out. It is useful. Zig on Exercism. Exercism has a Zig track that allows you to, well, learn Zig by solving programming puzzles in a sense, and it is great. It is great. You have 40 coding exercises on there. Then Ziglings, of course, and let's see what's learning Zig. Oh yeah, and also this. Also, learning Zig is good. I heard from people that it's really good. But I think that all these resources will kind of assume that you know what's up more than just being a super new software developer. So, yeah. So let's see. Not too much experience with writing parsers, but reading books. The language exists and the robot already have a compiler for it, but dev tooling is basically non-existing. Okay, so the parser will be just for doing LSP functionality. Okay, thank you. I understand. Now I understand it better. So by the way, that what you're trying to do is very interesting. That's great. So nice. Let me share with you then a blog post. This is a blog post from MathClad, the creator of Rust Analyzer, which is the Rust LSP. And it tells you a technique for building parsers for LSP purposes. Check it out. I don't have much direct experience with this approach. It seems funky to me, but it makes a lot of sense from what I can understand. So see if maybe this can give you some interesting ideas or not. But I also would say, if you've never done this and you're like trying to get started, what I would do is first do your own thing that you understand. Face the limitations, like get hit in the face by the things that you can't solve with your current approach, and then try to follow this tutorial and do the weird thing. That's my suggestion. I've been wondering how useful Wine or Darling would be for cross-platform development. Do you have experience with this? Somewhat. And I would say they are both extremely useful. Check this out. Zig test help. Zig test. So I have the parser that I'm working on, right? And I have my test cases where I want to test. Here, for example, this test case is saying I'm testing the auto formatting functionality of my parser. So I say parse this HTML and then re-render it formatted, and then expect in this test, in this specific test, what's happening is that I'm expecting the output, the formatted output to match the input. Not always the case. Sometimes I expect the case and the expected output to be different. But in any case, and actually this test case that I did just now was just because I was encountering a crash. Setting aside these details, this is a unit test in Zig. So to run this unit test, you can do zig test file and then -- test filter what. And the test filter allows you to basically filter tests by name. In this case, I only have one test that is named what, but it's a filter, right? So like if I had a multiple tests that, for example, focused on pre tags, I could select all of them by filtering for pre. In any case, testing, like running a unit test, works like this. Zig compiles an executable that has a main function that is the test runner that is basically controlled by Zig. And the test runner will call my test as a function. Like here, the syntax is a little bit funky, but this thing is basically a function. So it will call my function, execute my code, look if I'm returning an error or if I'm not returning an error, and then do reporting based on that. Now, so test produces an executable. This executable, while by default, obviously, it should be an executable that targets your current machine, it doesn't have to. You could build a test executable that is instead meant to run on another machine. So let's see if we can do this. So you can override the test runner. You can compile the binary without running it. Event.io mode. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Let's take a look at... so test no exec. What happens if I do that? So it built the executable, but where did it put it? So it didn't put it in zig out. Where did it put it? Oh, I think I guess I put it in the cache and then I have to do maybe -p. Is that it? No, it's not that -p. Like I cannot specify the prefix, I guess. Okay, interesting. Where does this test go when you say no exec? Oh, you know what? It probably still stays in the cache, so you're not getting it. Yeah, it's going. Okay, it's going somewhere in the cache. Yeah, I'm not doing 3 zig cache because the zig cache is going to be a bunch of things. But in any case, this is like just one thing that I wanted to explore. In any case, it's probably not going to be needed for what I wanted to point out in the end. So let's look at the other options. If you look at the other options, you can do test command. So you basically can define a command that will run your test in a sense, and after building it, and then you can and since that command might have like subcommands in your syntax, then you can, as part of the command, you can specify a bunch of options, and then a test cmd bin will append the test binary path to test command args. So for example, this is what I was doing earlier. I was saying, okay, run this test. The test command is going to be LLDB. So I want to run basically this test inside of LLDB. And for LLDB, I'm just going to basically call LLDB and then path to the compiled executable. So you do this and you get dropped into LDB, which has already been instructed to run this test, which, yeah, it's in the Zig cache. So I'm guessing it stays in the Zig cache also if you don't execute it. Okay, so we have this now, and I can do run, and this runs my test. In this case, previously I was getting a crash. I'm not getting it anymore. So now the thing runs to completion, prints what it needs to print, and then we can exit. Okay, final thing. You can do this. You can do all this stuff. Set a target for macOS or Windows, and then tell the system to run your test inside of Wine or inside Darling. And this is what the Z compiler does. Like, part of the Z compiler test suite is run the entire test suite on the host machine, then run the entire test suite inside of Wine, then run the entire test suite inside of Darling. I'm sorry, it took a while, but I just wanted to show you like some of the mechanics of it, like how to do this stuff. So if you look at the Z code base, you will find a few examples of this, and it's a thing. So testing in Wine and testing in Darling is not a bad idea. Obviously, there will be quirks compared to other, let's say non-emulated environments. But it's still, you can get a lot of mileage out of that in any case. If you'd written it in Python, you would have been done already. Like monkey patching the time to be 2024 instead of 2026. What? Okay, so what were we doing? I think that let me see for a moment. So Zig build super. We built. Oh, I think I didn't need that all the tab. Restart the LSP. The LSP loops forever. That is weird. So we're getting looping forever behavior in this case? Really? So my looping problem has not been solved. We solved some problems, but not others. Can we at some point get syncs on the channel rewards, please? I'm sitting on 20k. Hey, B-Bunny. Well, you know what you could do? You could chat more and have all your messages be highlighted. Why not? But yeah. Let's see. Can you please provide your IDE config and explain it if possible? My IDE, so the editor that I'm using is Helix, and I don't really have that much configuration on it. So if you look at my config file, so this thing I was trying doesn't even fucking work. I don't know. I saw it online. I wanted to try it out. Doesn't work. So I have one dark theme. I have mouse enabled, some scroll off, 80 columns rule. You know what? Maybe we can add a second one at 120, just for the sake of it. Auto completion enabled. I sometimes keep auto completion disabled. I just enabled. Actually, I normally want to keep auto completion disabled. I only enabled it now to test it in my own LSPs, and that's pretty much it. So if you have Helix, like if you're programming in Zig and you have Helix and you have the Zig LSP, then you're gonna be good, and you don't even need Helix. Like you can get the Zig LSP working also with Visual Studio Code. It's even easier. Like setting up everything on Visual Studio Code, super easy. So if you want like a simple setup that gives you everything, just open Visual Studio Code and you're gonna be good. And I think honestly the same applies to all the major editors. So thanks for your thoughts on Wine Darling. No problem. I will give it a try. Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. And you can set those things up not just through unit tests, obviously. I wanted to show you the unit test stuff because ultimately is the most idiomatic way of testing things. But if you have some more complicated tests that you don't want to express as a unit test, you can still do the same thing. And I think that Andrew was even showing that you can get this working to an insane degree. I think there are some, I don't know what to call it, if a library or something. There's a system on Linux that allows you to immediately invoke wine whenever you're trying to run an exe. So like you try to run a Windows executable on Linux, and the system automatically knows that it needs to spin up wine. And so you can have these fancy integrations where everything works well in that sense. I'm sorry, I wish I was able to give you more insight on this second specific example. It's just that I've seen it a while ago and I started to forget the details, unfortunately. But you get the idea of the general approach. You leverage these environments to test for other platforms in a virtualized fashion. So you do all this testing on one machine. Easier, cheaper, pretty good. Faster also. Just one machine doing all the work. Okay, so we're looping, unfortunately. Current index 10,000. Current index 10,100. Uh-oh. This thing was adding 10,000 nodes. So basically the tokenizer keeps returning the same thing. It keeps returning the same thing forever without moving forward as text. And then it causes the tokenizer to keep basically the AST. The AST thinks that there is an endless list of tiny chunks of text, which is interesting. They start at 167 and end at 168. So this is 100% a problem in the tokenizer. And it has to do with the text state. How did I mess that up? I really have trouble understanding how I could mess this up. Oh, I think I understand now. 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 So okay, let me think for a moment. I understand what the problem is. It's here. We need to change state when this happens. So defer self.state equals ouch, EOF. There you go. There you go. That was it, actually. It was so simple. Last famous words. Watch me. Okay. Man, we got such a nice crash, finally. Access to union field text while field EOF is active. Okay. Just needed to account for one last possibility. There we go. Now we're back in business. It's not behaving optimally, let's just put it that way. But at least we're back in business. It's adding a bunch of white space and new lines in places that it doesn't need to. I don't know why it's doing this. We have new we have new behavior because of the recent changes. Oh, I know what it is. I think it's the training white space, maybe. In any case. What if the real bugs were the moments you and Laura spent together? Yeah, that's it. that's at least some of the bugs. That's for sure. That is for sure. So, long story short, we can now test the auto-formatting behavior, which is now funky because we messed with it a bunch and now it's weird. But okay, check this out, by the way. I wanted to show this to people. I haven't had a chance even. Also, unfortunately, the sticky context extension really does not work well with HTML. I don't know if Solalicious ever fixed it. I probably should have tried to pull. I haven't pulled in a while from his branch. But for now, let me disable it. So config, user config. I'm going to disable sticky context. Buffer close, reload config. So sticky context is disabled. And now, okay, now check this out. Here's one thing that I implemented. Look, you have a bunch of attributes, right? And you keep adding attributes because you think they're neat. Well, maybe you're having line styles or something. At some point, they become a lot. And you want to break them on multiple lines. Check this out. You add a space here at the end, or you add a new line. And then the LSP poops itself. We crashed it. Okay, let me restart it. Let's assume that the LSP didn't crash. You save, and now you get vertical alignment. And then if you glue back the closing parentheses to the last attribute, you go back to horizontal alignment. Nothing surprising for people who know Zig. That's obviously something. It's not like I invented anything, but I think that bringing this tech to HTML writing is not a bad idea. And so that's one thing that I've implemented. So I think that now that we account for text, we need to iron out all the things that got out of whack because of including text. We need to fix a few offset issues that I remember that were wrong. So we need to also fine tune those a little bit. And we should be good to go. Actually, now we can test the gist that Johnny gave us, that Johnny Marler gave us. Now we can test this, see how our thing behaves. Probably is gonna not do good things to it. Did it crash? I think we crashed. To do, implement element self-closing in AST render. Oh, because the BR is self-closing. Okay, so we hit a to do because this BR is self-closing, which is not valid HTML. So this should be like this. But we did hit a to do because of that. Okay, what happens if the thing is not self-closing anymore? Ouch. Yeah, we auto-formatted it in a pretty brutal way, I would say. No, the meta tag is fine. The meta tag should be correctly identified as a void tag. But yeah, unrelated. I'm messing with the zigzag build, and I just realized zig build help includes the steps targets. Yep. Is there an explicit command for this? What do you mean by explicit command? You basically, whenever you define in your build script. Oh, Oh, you meant just listing steps. There you go. Nice. Okay, I thought you meant like if there was a command like to define what goes there, but it gets automatically defined in the build script. So yeah, awesome. Yeah, I auto-formatted the shit out of everything, man. It's like you don't deserve to have char sets. You don't deserve to have anything basically. So we need to fix this. Let's fix this. I'm honestly a little bit worried about this attribute. Oh, you know why? No, actually, I don't know why. Why the heck is this like this? Let's take a look at the renderer. I think it's a renderer problem. So let's restore that that attribute as a starting point. So, and you know what? We can even do this. Let's turn this into a unit test. Let's not forget about unit tests. They're good. Unit tests last forever. Okay. Like testing stuff on the fly doesn't last forever. Unit tests are like diamonds. Okay, I think we can even agree that we don't want anything changed here. I would say that everything in here should stay the same at this point. I'm thinking that everything in this thing should stay the same at this point. That should be kind of our goal. So HTML keeps its attribute, but meta loses it. So I bet you that this is because element void doesn't have the attribute printing machinery. Yeah, element has the attribute printing machinery, but element void does not. And element void, so I broke them apart into two separate things, but maybe element void should also be in here. This part is the same. Finding the name and attributes is the same. Stuff starts changing only here, basically. Okay, let's do this. So element void. We do the same exact printing. But then we have to decide what to do next. And the answer is... what are we switching on? Current.tag, right. So if it's a void element, what do we want to do? We know that direction has to be... Well, what did we do in here, basically? In here, we did this. If there's a next, we go to the next one. Otherwise, we go up. While here, we're going in. And if we're not going in, we're going direction exit. Okay, that makes sense. So... yeah. Guess we want to switch again. So if it's an element, either we want to exit it to print the end tag, or we go deeper. If it's a void element, we want to go to the next element if there's one, otherwise we're going up. Perfect. And this makes us delete this. On exit, we can also assert that current.tag is different than element void. But we should not be trying to exit an element void tag. Okay, so this should save us some pain. Well, this should basically restart the LSP, save. Okay, with this we don't lose the char set anymore, so one improvement. The next problem is, well, everything else, like, it's so out of whack, man. I suspect that I'm getting a text node. So that somewhere there's a text node that happens. So let's do some printing for that. You know what? Maybe there should be like a debug printing of the AST where we print the AST in terms of nodes and offsets. Probably not that bit of an idea. Like a debug print view. Should we try to add it? Like a debug function? Man, that's so annoying. I remember that the thing is recursive, and it takes some effort to get it right. So annoying. So annoying. Let's wait a little bit more. I don't feel like doing it now. But I do want to print whenever we are adding a new text node. So let's do this. std. Actually, we can log.debug here. Oh, but you know what? No, so I was testing this in the editor, but let's run this as a unit test. So let's test spans. Let's see this. Okay, yeah, it's out of whack. Let's see. So there's a lot of tokenizer state spam. That's fine. Where's my AST stuff? Where's my AST stuff? Oh man, I forget what the syntax is. Is this good? It is. Yeah, look at these. There's a bunch of text nodes made up of spaces. as bad. Basically, we have a bunch of spaces that for some reason end up becoming text nodes. So we need to get rid of those. Get rid of those, and we should be good. That said, I have to stop here because I have to hop on a call, like, soon. Actually, I have to open a call like in 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes. Let me actually double check that I didn't fuck this up completely. Yeah, okay. All is good. Yeah, so I have a call in 7 minutes. So I cannot stay much longer, unfortunately. But we need to understand why we are producing AST text nodes that are made up of spaces when I was trying to get rid of that. Obviously, I messed up some condition in there. And so once those are not a thing anymore, then we can go back to reason about how we want to treat white space, because the renderer has all the white space preserving logic. So yeah. So Exo, glad that you learned something useful today. At least you. Well, I learned how to avoid doing a mistake that I remember worrying about in the past and successfully avoiding in the past. Like when I was writing all the Ziggy, data serialization parsers and stuff, I knew about this dangling pointer on a array list error, and then I spent 2 months. Well, then I spent a few months organizing a conference, came back, forgot about it completely. So in any case, this is it. Let me see if there's anybody that I should send you to before checking out. I don't see anybody doing low-level programming that I can tell easily. So actually, let me check if anybody is live, has announced going live in Discord. Nobody has. So yeah, I think that's gonna be it. So thank you all for hanging out. Baby steps, but we're about to get a useful LSP soon. So thank you all. See you soon. Bye bye.